What's going on, everybody? This video is for those of you guys that are looking for another way to profit in the stock market. Let's get it. Today, I'm going to go over one of my 5 patterns that I've consistently been able to find profit on in the last 10 years of my trading. If you're new to the stock market, experienced, looking for another strategy to profit on, this video is for you. And today we're going to review my morning momentum strategy. The morning momentum strategy is one of 5 different patterns that I found that consistently work for me. If you're looking to look for the other 4 patterns that have worked for me in the past 10 years, you can check out the last videos that I created. All 4 of those patterns have their own videos, and I highly recommend it for anyone out there looking to find consistency in the market. Now for me, I've been trading for over 10 years, and it took me about 3 years in to find some consistency. So if you go and follow my whole trading journey under profit.ly at Stock Snipers, you can see every single one of my trades starting from my account at $3,000 going down to $500 and now getting very close to that big $500,000 in overall profits. And I'm doing this all by sticking to 5 different patterns. And this today that we're going to go over is the morning momentum play. Now, what's unique about this one compared to the other 4 plays that I usually play is this one usually works in the morning only. Those other plays are about 50-50. Most of my trades are overnight, but this trade works perfectly in the morning, which I love because I like to divide my days into 2. Typically, the first half of my day is that morning pre-market from 7 a.m. Eastern until right around 10:30 a.m. Eastern, because I believe that is the most volatile time of the day, and as a day trader, that's where you want to be, where the volume's at. In the middle of the day, after tracking all of my trades and looking through my past history, I've tracked 3,500 trades now, and I have 1,500 losses, and a lot of those losses come from me trying to mess around midday, and that's why I don't do it too much anymore. So I divide my day into 2, and then around 2 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern is when I start to get into my other patterns. So this is a fairly new pattern compared to the other ones. The other ones I've been trading for 10 years. This one I'd say I've been trading for about 4 years. But I had to adapt, and I think it's very important for all traders out there to continue to adapt with their craft. And that's why I say this video is for beginners, experienced traders, and any trader out there that's just trying to add on to profit. Because if you continue to adapt and learn from others and your peers, you can run into a strategy that might be consistent for you, and you can keep that in your arsenal. And that's what I was able to do with this morning momentum play. So shout out to Strati, Jack Kellogg, and a fairly new, really great trader out there, Rocky Racks, that actually does this play really well. He actually calls it the 3rd Green Day Surge. But let's dive in and let's talk about that morning momentum play. So this is a morning play usually played at that morning section, the first half of the day from 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I got a couple examples that I'm going to go over with everybody so we can dive right into there and try to pick my brain. And if you guys are interested in this, I actually create 2 watch lists a day, a morning watch list and an afternoon watch list. So check me out in the Mavericks Mastery Room on the Simpler Trading website. You can actually click the link below if you want to join the team. But we would love to have you on the team. This play is specifically going to come from my morning watch list, which is released at 9 a.m. Eastern. And this play right here, I got a great example. Why I picked this example is because it's a stock that everybody knows about. Well, most people know about it unless you live under a rock. It's actually your mom's favorite bookstore back in the day, Barnes & Nobles, or at least my mom's. I actually felt like I was always going into Barnes & Nobles when I was younger, but I loved that place. It was actually a lot of fun. Never thought I would be able to make $4,700 on it overnight. This specific Barnes & Nobles, it's hard to go back to Barnes & Nobles. If I actually zoom into the chart here, Barnes & Nobles has done a reverse split a couple times. But when I zoom into the chart to show you exactly what I'm looking at, you have to go back to May 17th of 24 here, and the reverse split kind of throws off the chart. But if you look at that May 17th day, it had a huge spike that is showing from $17 all the way to $60. So no matter what price it is, that's 200% gain. Now after that 200% gain, usually shorts are going to try to short it, especially a stock like Barnes & Noble's that doesn't usually go up. Shorts should be able to take over, and it should come back down and keep falling. The thing that makes the morning momentum play beautiful and a third green day surge, whichever way you want to call it, is if we're able to hold key levels from the day before and then start to spike. And that's exactly what we did here. You can see it in the chart, and if you now zoom into my actual picture here, you can see that I was able to buy this early in the morning right here by the lows. Technically, it was $30 on this chart, but I bought it at 30 cents. That's how much of a reverse split this did. And I was able to sell it at 50 cents and when it spiked all the way to here. It even went up to 70, and I took it overnight the next day for a gap up. But that's a whole nother play that you can learn about in another video for my multi-month breakout pattern. But the first beautiful morning momentum is Barnes & Noble's from 30 cents, technically right here, $30, up into 50 cents, which is $50. Close to 50% on our money. Actually, 50% it was, so 60% I think it was exactly on our money there in a short span of time too. That happened within a couple hours, buying pretty late in the day. So this was like a midday play, which I just said I don't love midday, but when things are hot, the morning plays, as long as they hold their cut spots, you go after them. And that's what we did with Barnes & Noble's, buying at 325, using 30 cents as cut, and going after that sell right around 50 cents. Now, the thing that I do want to point out about this pattern that's a slightly different than the other 4 patterns that I do trade is this risk level is going to be a little higher, but the reward is going to be a little higher. So higher risk, higher reward, but still the same ratio, the 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio, 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Another example that I wanted to show you, so here's Barnes & Noble's actually side by side. You can see it on the daily chart. You get that perfect hold. And then that next day is that gap up, and this is the day that we played it, and there's that next day we actually bought it again, and I sold it a little too soon because it spiked up all the way to there. But that is a beautiful play there in Barnes and Noble's. The next one I'm going to talk about is SINT. Another one that I wanted to show you, we were able to buy after a huge green day. So we took advantage of that big first green day, which we bought at 4 cents, sold at 12. And then after a full day of consolidation and holding pretty much 10 cents and 12 cents, we got back in on this huge dip and entered at 12, got out at 16, making 25% with a 5% risk. So pretty much 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Or no, 10% risk, sorry. And then we have PEGY, which is now trading under SUNE. But PEGY is another great example of how we were able to play it. And for PEGY, I actually have some live footage of it. So let's dive into the live footage of PEGY. What I love about this one is I was in the dentist. So this is actually a live trade while I was in the dentist. No other way, better way to make $4,000 when you're sitting in your dentist chair. My dentist said, oh, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody ever doing that before. But this is actually me playing this morning play. As you can see here, let me zoom back just to show you. We bought it after that huge day it had, and now it's consolidating for a day. Now, on that consolidation day, the key levels that I always like to look at are the day before lows and the day of lows. And that was 16 cents here, so that's what I was risking, trying to enter in as close to 16 cents as possible. And as long as we hold that 16, the morning momentum can usually shift it. You could see pre-market, it hit 19 cents. So it's showing some nice range. We also have been playing this sector, which was a very hot sector at the time. It was these penny stocks that were spiking like crazy. So at this point, what I'm doing here is I'm setting up a stop loss. And I'm just really happy with the profit that I have right now in PEGY. Because we've spiked now from 17 cents to 22. That's close to a 20% profit in a very short amount of time. And this is me just kind of setting myself up, setting stop losses up, taking profit as we go. So you can see here my stop loss is set up. If it does come down there, I'll move it up, debating on if I should sell. And I actually stayed patient enough to let this thing come back to 24. So there it is. PEGY's still kind of growing there. And eventually, as it starts to creep its way to 24, we start to scale out. I don't have the exact sells, but you can see there the strength. And even if, this thing did come back to 22, it would have hit my stop loss at the time, but I still would have had a really nice profit there. But beautiful hold and continuation there. And that was an older play there. All of those were a bit older. So let's dive into one that's a bit recent. And this is actually one that we just had on a recent morning watch list for September 17th. And this is ATCH. It's a perfect example of a morning momentum. So usually what you're looking for is that first green day push, which you have a huge gap up, ideally 100% or more. Once that 100% gap up happens, will it be able to hold? So that's always the next question. So now if we look at it, let me zoom in. But if you look at the minute candles, you'll see you got that huge spike in gap up from 30 cents to $1. So over 100% gap up. And then you have a clear hold of 80 cents. So 80 cents hold all day into the after hours. And what does it do that next morning? It pretty much holds 80 perfectly. And then that next morning, what does it do? It touches 80, drops below it for about a minute. And instantly when it reclaims it, it never drops, it never comes back below that. Shorts are completely squeezed or caught in a tangle, and that 80 cents hits 180 today. And the thing is still moving. So that is straight off the morning watch list, the morning momentum play. And just one for you to show that they are constantly moving. And you should always be constantly evolving your strategy. That's a big, big part about this. And all of this is something that you can do anywhere. That's the beauty about trading, guys. As you can see here with this PEGY $4,000 win, I was at the dentist, literally sitting in the dentist chair. So if you are interested in stuff like this, I'd love to have you on the team. I do the hard work usually, set up the morning watch list, the afternoon watch list. You still have to press the buy and sell button. You are your own boss. That's the beauty of this journey. No one really telling you what to do. But check us out in the Stock Mavericks room at the Simpler Trading website, simplertrading.com. Would love to have you on the team. If not, and you like these kind of videos, hit that subscribe button below. Would love to see you guys catching these morning momentum plays. So good luck out there. Much love. Stay consistent. And let's get back to the market.